Top 10 stars who almost ended Hollywood careers. What if I told you that one of Hollywood's biggest stars physically assaulted a director on set and somehow walked away unscathed? Or that a beloved A-lister's backstage meltdown destroyed millions of dollars and nearly got an entire studio shut down? Today, we're exposing the 10 most shocking moments when celebrities didn't just damage their own careers, they almost took down everyone around them. And trust me, number 1 involves a scandal so explosive the industry tried to bury it for decades. Let's dive in. Hollywood is built on image, reputation, and power. But behind the glitz and glamour, there's a darker side. Ego clashes, addiction, violence, and decisions so reckless they've threatened to collapse entire productions, bankrupt studios, and end the careers of dozens of innocent people caught in the crossfire. These aren't just diva moments. These are cases where one person's actions put hundreds of jobs, millions of dollars, and Hollywood's credibility on the line. Some of these stars recovered. Others never worked again. But all of them left a trail of destruction that Hollywood still whispers about. Let's count down the 10 most dangerous players in Tinseltown history. 10th, Katherine Heigl. We're starting with Katherine Heigl, and if you think this is just about being difficult, think again. At the height of her fame on Grey's Anatomy, Heigl didn't just complain, she publicly humiliated the writers who made her a star. She withdrew her name from Emmy consideration, claiming the material wasn't good enough. Then she trashed the hit comedy Knocked Up, calling it sexist, despite it being one of the highest-grossing comedies of the year. But here's where it gets worse. Her behavior on set reportedly caused tension with cast and crew, leading to her exit from Grey's Anatomy. And when she tried to pivot to film, studios quietly blacklisted her. Projects collapsed. CO stars refused to work with her. For years, she was box office poison. Katherine Heigl didn't just damage her career. She became a cautionary tale that agents still use to warn young actors, don't bite the hand that feeds you. But that's just the beginning. Because what comes next involves actual criminal charges. 9th, Charlie Sheen. Charlie Sheen's meltdown in 2011 was so chaotic it's hard to believe it really happened. At the time, Sheen was the highest paid actor on television, earning nearly $2 million per episode of 2.5 Men. But behind the scenes, his life was spiraling. Drug binges, erratic behavior, public rants about winning and tiger blood. Then it happened. He verbally attacked the show's creator, Chuck Lorre, in a series of unhinged interviews. CBS had no choice. They fired him, shut down production, and scrambled to save one of their most valuable shows. Here's the kicker. 2.5 Men employed over 200 crew members. When Sheen got fired, all of them were out of work. The studio lost tens of millions. And while the show eventually continued with Ashton Kutcher, Sheen's actions nearly killed a television empire. And yet, Sheen's career somehow survived. But the person at number 8? Not so lucky. Stay with me, because the next entry involves a fistfight that could have ended in a lawsuit worth hundreds of millions. 8th, Bill Murray. Bill Murray is a comedy legend. But on the set of Charlie's Angels, he became something else entirely, a nightmare. Murray reportedly clashed violently with co-star Lucy Liu, culminating in a heated physical altercation. Production halted. Tension was so thick that the studio had to intervene. Murray refused to return for the sequel, and the entire dynamic of the franchise shifted. But here's the part most people don't know. If Liu had sued for hostile work environment or assault, the studio could have been liable for hundreds of millions. The film's success was already shaky, and a lawsuit could have buried it, and Lucy Liu's rising career, before it even started. Murray's behavior risked everything, and while he's remained a Hollywood icon, the incident left a permanent scar on the franchise and everyone involved. But if you think that's bad, wait until you hear about the director who was physically attacked by one of the most powerful stars in the world. 7th, Russell Crowe. Russell Crowe's temper is legendary. But in 2005, it went from Hollywood gossip to criminal record. Frustrated during a phone call, Crowe hurled a telephone at a hotel concierge, injuring him. He was arrested, charged with assault, and faced serious jail time. The incident made global headlines and painted Crowe as violent and unstable. At the time, Crowe was starring in major studio films. If he'd been convicted and imprisoned, multiple productions would have collapsed, costing studios tens of millions and putting hundreds of jobs at risk. He eventually pleaded guilty, settled, and avoided jail. But the damage was done. Studios became wary. Insurance costs skyrocketed. For years, Crowe's reputation as a liability overshadowed his talent. One man's rage almost derailed an entire corner of Hollywood, and we're only at number 7. The higher we go, the more shocking it gets. Because next, we're talking about a star whose addiction didn't just threaten one movie, it nearly destroyed an entire genre. Sixth, Lindsay Lohan. Lindsay Lohan's fall from grace is tragic, but the collateral damage, absolutely devastating. By the late 2000s, Lohan was uninsurable. She missed shoots, showed up late, and was allegedly intoxicated on set. Productions like Georgia Rule lost hundreds of thousands of dollars due to delays caused by her behavior. But here's the real cost. Young actresses who looked up to her saw their opportunities dry up. Studios became terrified of investing in young female-led projects. Lohan didn't just ruin her own career. She made Hollywood wary of an entire generation of actresses. Agents had to fight twice as hard to get their young clients taken seriously. And even now, the Lohan effect lingers as a warning about the dangers of fame without accountability. Think that's the worst of it? Not even close. Because number 5 involves a power struggle so toxic, it nearly shut down one of the most successful film franchises in history. Fifth, Val Kilmer. Val Kilmer was one of the most talented actors of the 90s. He was also one of the most hated. On the set of The Island of Dr. Moreau, Kilmer's behavior was so toxic that it became legendary. He refused direction, clashed with co-stars, and created such chaos that the film became a production disaster. The director was fired. Marlon Brando reportedly called Kilmer confusing. The movie bombed. But the real damage? Kilmer earned a reputation as difficult, and Hollywood quietly shut him out. Directors refused to work with him. Studios stopped calling. His career, once unstoppable, ground to a halt. Val Kilmer didn't just hurt himself. He wasted the time, money, and careers of everyone around him. And now we're entering the top 5, where egos, addiction, and violence collide in ways that nearly brought Hollywood to its knees. Number 4 is a story most people have never heard, but it almost ended one of the most iconic film series ever made. Fourth, Edward Norton. Edward Norton is brilliant, but he's also a control freak, and it's cost him dearly. Norton's obsessive need to rewrite scripts and challenge directors became legendary. On The Incredible Hulk, he clashed so intensely with Marvel Studios that they fired him and recast the role with Mark Ruffalo. Here's what's shocking. The Incredible Hulk was a foundational piece of the Marvel Cinematic Universe. If Norton's behavior had derailed the film or poisoned relationships further, the entire MCU, now worth billions, could have collapsed before it even began. Norton's refusal to play ball almost killed the most successful franchise in film history. But even Norton's ego pales in comparison to what's coming, because the next entry involves substance abuse, emotional manipulation, and a performance that nearly didn't happen, despite being one of the greatest in cinema history. Third, Marlon Brando. Marlon Brando revolutionized acting, but by the 1970s, he'd become Hollywood's most expensive nightmare. On Apocalypse Now, Brando showed up overweight, unprepared, and refused to memorize lines. Director Francis Ford Coppola had a nervous breakdown trying to manage him. The production ran millions over budget, and the film nearly bankrupted the studio. But here's the twist. Brando's genius still shone through. His improvised performance became iconic. The film became a masterpiece, yet the cost was staggering. Coppola's health, the crew's sanity, and the studio's finances were all casualties of Brando's arrogance. And we're almost at the top. Number 2 is a story so disturbing it involves threats, fear, and a film that almost never got made because of one man's reign of terror. Second, Klaus Kinski. Klaus Kinski was a mad genius and genuinely dangerous on the set of Fitzcarraldo. Kinski terrorized the cast and crew so severely that the indigenous extras offered to kill him. Director Werner Herzog later admitted he seriously considered it. Kinski's rage was uncontrollable. He screamed, threw objects, and created an environment of pure fear. Production was delayed for years, budgets exploded, people quit. And yet Herzog kept working with him, producing some of cinema's greatest films. But at what cost? Kinski's violence almost ended careers, lives, and film history itself. Which brings us to number 1, the most shocking, career-destroying, Hollywood-threatening scandal of them all. First, Judy Garland. Judy Garland didn't almost end careers through violence or ego. She almost ended them through tragedy. From childhood, Garland was drugged, exploited, and abused by MGM Studios. By the time she was an adult, she was addicted to pills, emotionally broken, and unreliable. Productions collapsed around her. The Barclays of Broadway, Annie Get Your Gun, Royal Wedding, all fell apart because Garland couldn't perform. But here's the devastating truth. It wasn't her fault. Hollywood created her addiction, and when she couldn't keep up, they discarded her. The cost? Hundreds of jobs lost, millions wasted, and a system so broken it destroyed the very stars it built. Judy Garland's story isn't just about one career. It's about an industry that almost destroyed itself through greed and cruelty. So there you have it, 10 stars who didn't just risk their own careers but nearly took Hollywood down with them. Some recovered, some didn't. but all of them left scars that the industry still feels today. Now I want to hear from you. Which of these shocked you the most? And are there any stars you think deserve to be on this list? Drop your thoughts in the comments below. If you enjoyed this video, smash that like button, subscribe for more deep dives into Hollywood's darkest secrets, and hit the notification bell so you never miss an upload. Thanks for